Hello, my friends. In this video, we'll be traveling back in time to Turkey to Anatolian Beyliks era, and we'll be examining sample I20322. This sample apparently was supposed to be blue-eyed. Well, we're gonna figure that out today. Does it really have blue eyes? What's the matter with this sample? Um, I'm guessing that this sample having blue eyes was determined with YSEC. As we know, YSEC is not to be taken seriously ever, but of course it will be very interesting to see. And I have this sample right here. I have prepared this sample for this video. So what's interesting about the sample? I couldn't find any information about the sample anywhere. It's not on the spreadsheet. It's not anywhere. There's no information about it anywhere online. So really, the only type of I don't want to do any like really detailed research into this type of stuff. I don't have because nobody really watches my videos. I have maybe 200, 300 views in one day, and I don't think it's really worth doing this kind of 5 hour research for 300 people to watch my content. It's not really worth it. So I don't do this kind of research. Um, I typically don't put in more than 20 minutes of effort into my video. That's kind of how it is. It's not worth the time. It's That's how it is. Sorry. But judging off that comment, it is an Anatolian Turk, and I'm going to trust you guys. I assume that you guys aren't lying to me when you say that it is an Anatolian Turk from Beylik era, and that's what it looks like as well with the ethnicity. It looks like an Anatolian Turk. It's scoring similar to Turkish people. It's closest to Turks, followed by Azeri, followed by Central Greeks. It's scoring like a typical Anatolian Turk would with Eurogenes K13. It's scoring typical Anatolian Turk components, East Mediterranean, West Asian. It's got quite a lot of European admixture. I'm noticing 13.5% North Atlantic, 7% Baltic, a lot of Northern European components actually. So it makes sense for this individual to have some kind of light features. Of course, with Northern European admixture, you can pick up some light color features as well. This person has as well some East Eurasian admixture as well, some 5.5% Siberian. There is 4% East Asian. There is 0.7% Amerindian. So that's a kind of like a typical Turkish result. This person looks like a typical Turk, and two population approximation looks like Turkmen plus Ashkenazi, or Turkmen plus Sephardic Jewish, or Turkmen plus Italian Jewish. This looks like a typical result for a Turkish person. So what I'm seeing here is quite a typical Turkish guy. The haplogroup is interesting. The haplogroup is very surprising. What kind of dumbfounded me is that the most precise haplogroup my trait predictor was able to find for him is K, and that's really unusual. And if you look at the panel for the variants, it found two variants for K and no variants for L or N or O or Q or R, and that's very surprising. And I actually found out that his haplogroup is T, and I don't look. T is the one haplogroup that I don't look for in my panel. I don't have a T panel here, and I'm thinking maybe I should add a T panel in my haplogroup panel list. So maybe I will add a T panel in the future. So you know that's one thing I'm thinking of right now. Maybe I should be adding a T panel in the future for the haplogroup list. So that's quite interesting. That's for the haplogroup. For the mitochondrial lineage, this person mitochondrial lineage is W9. Definitely very interesting. That doesn't tell me much. I don't know anything about mitochondrial DNA. W9, where is that most common in? What does that say? Well, let's move on to the eye color. That's what people are interested in. That's what people want to see. Let's see the Nasha code calculator results. That's what, of course, you want to see. That's what you wanted to uh, find out about. So it looks like for eye color, for blue eyes, this person's likelihood for blue eyes is not that high. It's only 18.8%. It's really not all that high. It's higher than darkest brown eyes for sure. So this person doesn't have dark brown eyes. That's definite. but it's not all that high. For blue eyes with an amber center, once again, not all that high. Most likely, this person has green eyes. So, most likely, eye color for him is green eyes. Um, Hazel eyes also not really all that high, but it's lower than blue eyes for him. Brown eyes, not really all that possible, and definitely doesn't have darkest brown eyes. So most likely this person's eye color is green, followed by that is blue, followed by that is blue with amber center, then hazel, and probably not brown, and definitely not dark brown. So most likely this person's eye color is actually green. Um, but of course, with YSEC you cannot get these types of details. For hair color, less most likely hair color for him is actually red hair. And I think with YSEC the prediction is very very different from that. So I ran him through YSEC earlier. With YSEC the prediction is blonde, but they make everyone blonde, so don't worry about that too much. With YSEC, if you score anything other than blonde, that's very rare. So there's no surprises with YSEC there. The second largest group he scores after red hair is light brown hair. After that, it's dark blonde hair. After that, it's dark brown, and least likely for him to score is black hair. For skin color, it looks like he's got olive or Mediterranean skin, right? And followed by that is white skin, and followed by that is light brown skin. So he's this most likely a red-haired person with olive or Mediterranean skin with green eyes. Very very interesting. And it looks like he's got curly or wavy or even straight hair. Straight hair was also quite possible. Straight hair is also quite possible. Kinky hair is out of the picture most likely. Kinky hair is not really possible here. He does not have blue eye haplotype 3. He has blue eye haplotype 2 and 1. Does not have BH4. He's got all of these variants that are also linked to BH1 and 2, which is really good. He's got this genotype, which is predictive of light color of eyes, hair, and skin. He's got heterozygous genotype in this variation of SLC45A2, which is predictive of intermediate color of eyes, hair, and skin. He does not have any light color variants in this variation of IRF4. What's interesting is he actually does have one light color variant in this variation of MC1R here, which contributes to him scoring for ginger hair, but there's other genotypes that contribute for ginger, like this variation right here. There's some genotypes in his result that contribute to ginger hair, like outside of MC1R. So that's pretty much all there is for this result. You can like plug stuff in from here to snipper free and play around with that. I'm not gonna do that right now. That takes a little bit too much time. Let's see for the phenotype oracle. Let's see the phenotypes he resembles most. What kinds of phenotypes he scores. So the phenotypes closest to him is this. Looks very, yeah. I mean, it looks pretty typical. Looks like a normal, kind of like a normal Turkish person. Like a normal Turkish phenotype. Followed by that is this phenotype. Followed by that is this phenotype. They all kind of look the same, to be honest. Like normal, general, typical Turkish phenotypes. And for the mixed mode, 50% nat plus 50% nat is the closest phenotype mixture to him, followed by 50% nat plus 50% nat, followed by 50% nat plus 50% nat, followed by 50% nat plus 50% nat. Very interesting mixtures. Well, you see these mixtures because he's scoring so much for ginger hair color. If he wasn't scoring so much for ginger hair, you'd see different mixtures. All right, let's see what he scores for the. Have I shown you the ethnic calculator results with my trait predictor? Have I? I genuinely don't remember. Okay, let me show you the ethnic calculator results with my trait predictor. Okay, let's do this. So with 470 SNPs, this is what he scores. He's closest to New Grange 10 British Neolithic farmers, followed by Pinarbasi hunter-gatherer from Anatolia, followed by Turkish individuals, 2 Turkish individuals, followed by Svaineti Georgian, followed by Iranian individual Atafe, So basically, he's close to various like Anatolians and like West Asian people. Nothing too surprising. Followed by Iron Age individuals from Anatolia, followed by Caucasians, medievals from Anapa. So he's close to various West Asians. Nothing is surprising here. And the closest mixtures is BMAC plus Kiev and Rus, or Hispanics plus Veliki and Caucasians, or Finnish plus BMAC. And there's actually a mixture that's really funny: Jewish Ashkenazi plus Bactrians, which reminds me of this model, Turkmen plus Ashkenazi. Doesn't that look really similar? Ashkenazi plus Bactrians and Turkmen plus Ashkenazi. That looks really similar to me, actually, in terms of the model. But I think that's kind of coincidental. Anyway, looks pretty cool. I think this is one of the cases where the trait predictor ethnic calculator got the admixture quite precisely right. Yeah, let's see the biomarkers results. For the biomarkers results, looks like this individual has below average level of vitamin D, above average level of LDL cholesterol, below average level of HDL cholesterol, above average level of glucose, above average level of hemoglobin, average blood pressure, slightly below average level of iron in blood, slightly below average level of sex hormone binding globulin, slightly below average level of red blood cell count in blood, and slightly above average uh, base pairs number for telomere length. So slightly longer lifespan, biological lifespan based on telomere length. Pretty good stuff. All right, let's see the polygenic risk scores. Polygenic risk scores. So one thing we can see right off the bat is extremely high risk score for rheumatoid arthritis. Definitely very unhealthy here. Low risk score for Tourette's. Quite low risk score for epilepsy. Sort of average score for asthma. Sort of average score for leukemia. High score for vitiligo. Average score for myopia. Average score for primary biliary cirrhosis. Average score for stroke. Low score for male pattern hair loss. So this person is quite protected from male pattern hair loss, which is really good. Also kind of surprising considering this ancestry. Europeans and West Asians tend to be quite protected, tend to be quite predisposed. Excuse me. Europeans and West Asians tend to be quite predisposed to male pattern hair loss. He also has a predisposition to atrial fibrillation. Nothing relevant was found for deep vein thrombosis. He has a protection from bipolar type 1, protection from schizophrenia, predisposition to type 2 diabetes, predisposition to type 1 diabetes, average odds for Alzheimer's, protection from multiple sclerosis, 2 risk variants for breast cancer out of 14, typical, 9 risk variants for testicular cancer out of 18, and it looks like 2 risk variants in all the relevant variations of kilo G. So when it comes to the important variations of kilo G, it looks like he has all the risk variants there, kind of cooked. For celiac disease section, looks like he has 5 risk variants for celiac disease out of 10, kind of really bad. For GSS, no risk variants for GSS. For Crohn's, 6 risk variants for Crohn's out of 22. None of them are in the important variations, which is good. No risk variants for Raffenstein's, no risk variants for Parkinson's, and 4 risk variants for Gilbert's syndrome, 2 here and 2 here, but okay. And no risk variants for basal cell carcinoma. Really good to see. Okay, so the only thing we have to really watch out for is the rheumatoid arthritis. Let's look it up, actually. Let's see what genotypes he has relevant to that. So he has a genotype that correlates to lower risk of rheumatoid arthritis. He has a genotype that correlates to 5 times increased risk of rheumatoid arthritis. And he has a genotype that correlates to 6 times increased risk of rheumatoid arthritis. Very interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and see his monogenic traits, and we'll be done there. It looks like he's got warrior genotype in COMT and warrior genotype in MAOA, so he's quite a warrior. He also has intermediate number of dopamine D2 receptor sites in the brain. It looks like he also has short form 5-HT-CLPR, and he does not have a decrease in the risk of depression, so he has an increase in the risk of depression. It looks like he has a intermediate odds of autism. It looks like he has heterozygous genotype for European lactose persistence, and is probably not lactose intolerant. Actually, no, he has two derived variants for European lactose persistence in this variation, so he's definitely not lactose intolerant. It looks like he has average level of empathy based on his genotype in OXTR, so he's neither a sociopath nor an empath. Um, okay, for hemochromatosis, he is not a carrier for the C282Y hemochromatosis variant. For cardiovascular disease panel, looks like he has lower odds of cardiovascular issues. For um, facial morphology panel, looks like he has all of the European genotypes in EDAR. He does not have any East Asian genotypes in EDAR. He has AG in this variation of PAX3, which correlates to intermediate odds of protruding nasal bridge and intermediate nose size and higher nasolabial angle, which leads to a nose pointing up. He has thicker eyebrows. He has two genotypes that lead to thicker eyebrows. He does not have micropenis. He has impaired muscle performance, which leads to likely being an endurance athlete rather than a strength or a power athlete. He has one variant for increased pain sensitivity. He does not have shovel-shaped incisors in not East Asian ancestry, but that's once again about EDAR. He's also not an Asian flusher. He has lower odds of alcoholism. Okay. When it comes to risk of heart failure due to beta blocker medications, that is slightly above average for him. Okay. For alcoholism, his risk score is quite below average, so he's not predisposed to alcoholism. Pretty good to see. When it comes to risk variance for rare diseases, the only rare diseases that he is predisposed to is rheumatoid arthritis, but we already know that. For male pattern hair loss, he actually has genotypes that correspond to significant decreases in the risk of male pattern baldness. For example, here in the AR gene, he has a genotype that protects him from going bald completely, which is really incredibly rare for somebody who's a Turk. He has the genotype in EDA2R, which completely protects him from going bald. He has all the genotypes that protect him from going bald, which is really uncommon for somebody of his ethnicity. All of the genotypes are really uncommon for Europeans and West Asians. This is just really weird. So because of that, he's scoring very low for the odds of male pattern baldness for the polygenic risk scores page. Typically, Europeans and like Turkish people and various West Asians are predisposed to losing hair, but in his case, that is not the case. He is very protected from that. So for HIV and AIDS panel, looks like he is protected from HIV. For HLA panel, it looks like he actually has highest odds of autoimmune disease. Yes, so based on his genotype in HLA, he is quite predisposed to autoimmune disease. Let's look that up. Actually, HLA. Let's look up HLA in his result. So here we don't see any risk variance here, but let's keep looking that up. Maybe there's something that it's not finding. Yeah, as we see 2 HLA risk variance in vitiligo panel. There must be something else. There must be something else. Yes, there's something else that's not shown on the screen explicitly, that's playing a part in the calculation, because there's other things that aren't shown on the screen explicitly that play a part in the calculation. So, for the HLA panel, he's got highest odds of autoimmune disease because it takes into account the whole gene, not only the stuff that's shown on the screen. So, based on the you can usually get a good estimation, and you can usually make a good assumption based on stuff that you see on the screen. Like if you have a bunch of risk variants in HLA and you see that on the screen, you can usually assume that, yeah, I'm probably gonna score like lowest odds, or I'm probably gonna score highest odds just based on what I see. But if you don't have much information, you can't really assume, because there's gonna be variations. There's going to be a lot of variations that play a role in a calculation that you don't see on the screen. It's coded. It's coded. A lot of it is coded beyond what you see. Like for example, for the way it's coded for autism is as well. Like here, you think it's only these two variations that play a role in the calculation for autism, but no, it's not only these two. There is a lot more. Like there's so much more that plays a role in this prediction than just these two. So okay, for muscular dystrophy myopathies, it looks like this individual does not have any risk variance for muscular dystrophy myopathies, and no risk variance for ADL. For color blindness panel, no risk variance for color blindness in any of the panels, in any of the genes in OPN1LW or MW or SW. For FCO gene panel, looks like homozygous for all the fat gene variants. Wow, so this person is really predisposed to obesity. Very interesting. All of the risk variants for obesity in all the FCO variants, definitely predisposition to obesity. For syncope panel, based on 530. Wow, this is like a memory glitch. I don't know how to get rid of it. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to circumnavigate this. Maybe I'll just get rid of the S and P's thing. Maybe I'll just get rid of this completely. I don't know. I don't know. I have to figure out a way to get rid of this somehow because this is like completely ruining my program. Okay, but syncope risk slightly above average. For biotraits panel, um, wet earwax, normal or smelly body odor, typical for non-East Asians. So this person smells like a normal person. He's got one copy of the hunter-gatherer CLT Wajin variant and one copy of the farmer variant. Intermediate ability to process carbs and sugars, typical stuff. And um, okay. And for blood group panel, it looks like this person actually has blood type B, very rare blood type. Typically, the most common blood type I've said this before, is blood type O. Me, all my family, and my friend, we all have blood type O, but some people have blood type B. It's whatever. Kind of uncommon, kind of unusual blood type. But looks like this person has blood type B. One thing I want to say, I want to announce. Hold on, let me turn on my camera. Hello. Hello. So, as you can see, Trade Predictor, I was able to build it for not only Windows and Linux, but also for Mac OS, Mac operating system. Um, so, I'm having some trouble linking all the libraries for Mac operating system with my Trade Predictor. It's like technical terms, like when you build the executable, you want to link all the libraries you use, because like sometimes when you run it on some computer, the computer might not have all the necessary packages to run it, and then it's not going to work. So like with Linux and with Windows executables, I was able to actually link everything that's needed to run my tool into the executable. So that's why the files are a little bit larger. The files there are 10 megabytes in size. They're quite large. They're really robust files. But at least I know for fact, I know for sure they're gonna work when you run them on the system. I know for sure that when you run the executable, it's gonna like execute and it's gonna work. But with the Mac OS version that I have got, I'm having some trouble like linking stuff there. Uh, it's just I'm not like I'm having trouble with it. So I compiled it without linking anything. So I don't know if it's gonna work. So I'm gonna have like testing. There's gonna be like testing stages where I'm gonna send it to people who have Mac OS operating system. They're gonna be testing it on their computer, and if it works on their computer, then I'm gonna release it to my each page, and I'm gonna be like, hey, it works on Mac OS, and I'm gonna start selling it and advertise it as my tool working on Mac OS. But for now, I'm not gonna release it yet because like I don't want people to pay money and then be like, it's not working. I don't want people to complain. But anyway, that's how it is uh, with Trade Predictor as it is currently. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Goodbye.